Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and today I've got kind of a weird topic for a video, and I apologize because it's gonna sound a little all over the place, maybe a little bit stumbly, because I'm doing this just kind of off the top of my head. It's something that I've been thinking about the content I make on my YouTube channel and the absence of one type of content in particular, especially in recent months. And since you can, I'd assume, read the title of the video, you know that's largely about how little content I've actually made about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is only a couple of months away at this point. So to back up a little bit, I have enjoyed talking about Square Enix properties for the last decade a ton. While yes, I predominantly make Final Fantasy XIV content, those of you who have been around know that I'm not afraid to occasionally dabble in other stuff. You know, Octopath, Visions of Mana just got recently announced. I did a ton of stuff for 15 and 16, Pixel Remaster. Like, I report on all sorts of little tiny things that just get me excited when it comes to Square Enix and other properties like Souls games and whatnot. But in the last few months, since playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, since being invited to play it, making a few videos about it, I've made relatively little about a title that, quite frankly, I'm pumped about. Like, I know because you don't see a whole lot of content on my channel, you would assume I'm not super excited, but yet you see a ton of 16 stuff popping up all the time. No, I am ultra excited. Remake was way better for me than I thought it would be. I just didn't think that game could turn out as well as it did for me personally. And since then, I have just been fiending to get to Rebirth and whatever the third title is going to be. And yet my content doesn't really reflect that outside of the passing comment about how excited I am. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why in a video, because I sat down and finally thought about it. And I think I came up with my own reason because I hadn't really thought about it till now. This is springing up because I still have not made a video watching the most recent trailer for 7 Rebirth, the one that was at the Game Awards. Now, that specific video I haven't rushed to because while I didn't see the whole thing at the Game Awards, because there's like another minute or so to it from what I understand from the YouTube version, it's still like, of all the trailers you'd think I'd have jumped on to post a reaction for, that finished trailer should have been at the top of my list. And yet, with the 16 DLC and making sure to get all the content I want done on that, which I'm still not done with technically, plus whatever I was already working on, plus live stream stuff, plus some other complications that have happened in the last week in my life, I haven't done it still. I'm recording this before I record that. I'm going to do it right after this just so that way I can have it done. But it's just wild, right? And while that video, like I said, had its own reasons, because I've already seen half of it at the Game Awards, I already posted one video reaction of the Game Awards version. It's not the only reason I've come to discern as to why I didn't post it right away and why I haven't really been rushing to get it done. So there are a couple of small reasons that I think kind of feed into it, but they're not the grander reason. Like Final Fantasy VII, honestly, before Remake, not one of my favorite Final Fantasies. It is the first Final Fantasy game I ever saw. It is technically what got me into the franchise, but it just doesn't ring as like one of my favorites. As someone who's played so many of them, it's kind of just like in the middle there. I don't dislike it, but I'm not like in love with it. You know what I mean? Which is funny because Remake, I loved. Remake. I know there's a lot of controversy about the way it ended up being done, and I liked it way more than I expected, but I just don't have as much of a connection to the original Final Fantasy VII. And that's like, I've replayed the original since. Like, I played it like over like 12 times, but it just doesn't do it for me. And then there's other things like the updates that we usually receive about 7, outside of a new trailer to dissect, we don't usually get big updates. It's like an interview with like a dev comment or two or some screenshots for like new summons or a character, like, renders. It's simple marketing stuff, but that's never stopped me from making a video. Again, refer to 15 and 16, the two more recent numbered titles, or at least the two, not remake numbered titles we've had. I've done so much content on those. One of my most viewed videos is a Final Fantasy 15 video. So that's never stopped me before. So while those reasons are there, I think I know what the real reason is, and it's really more of a fan reason than anything else. Now, I said that Remake really surprised me in terms of how much I liked it, but going into it, it was a very, spoiler-rich marketing that they had for Remake. Now, fortunately, I was able to play and finish the game before the final trailer, which was hilarious because I couldn't tell anyone that, and everyone kept coming to me saying, like, don't watch the most recent trailer, it's spoilers, and I'm like, yeah, it really is. Like, now having played it and then watching it, I'm like, yeah, that's brutal. But it was like so spoiler rich that now when we go into Rebirth, they're kind of taking a similar-ish approach. They're giving us a lot of information that means a lot to us who have played the original Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of between-the-line reading that we can all do about the various scenes. And again, this is me saying this without having watched the most recent Game Awards, main theme trailer that they put out. But even before that, there's just so much speculation based on what developers have been saying, what the trailers have had. And so, yeah, I would say that the marketing for Rebirth has also been very spoiler rich. Now, that being said, I'm not avoiding the marketing for Rebirth, but I feel less inclined to want to report on it for that reason. Because I think back to Remake, and I think back to all the videos I made, because I was doing the same thing. I was like making videos on this small detail, that small detail. I just didn't make much about the game after it came out. But I mean, I jumped right into all that. And I think about how much more I might have enjoyed the game if they didn't market it the way that they did. And again, thank goodness I got to play before the final trailer, but all of the potential surprise and everything, it was all just kind of gone. It felt like it was a title that could have done with less. And Rebirth, I feel that same way, but I guess I'm like subconsciously deciding not to report on it as much for kind of that same reason. I'm not waiting hand and foot on every update that comes out, every render, every dev comment. I don't need to know. And this is more so because I know how the rest of the original 7 goes, right? And that's obviously not what's going to be happening here. And I know how the base remake played, and I already know the changes they're making to the gameplay here because I've had the ability to play it. And as such, what else do I really feel like I, as a fan, need to know to be sold the game? I don't. I'm all in already. They could just say nothing until it releases, and I wouldn't be like, oh, they're being quiet, they don't have anything to say. No, what else? It's just the second game in this trilogy that they're making to remake the original Final Fantasy VII. So I think the part of me that is such a big fan of Remake is less inclined to want to get that involved with these aspects in terms of reporting on Rebirth. Because if I feel like it would be better for me to not know, how can I then go to you all? Like, I understand that the people watching those videos don't care. They're people who played the original, and I'm appealing to those people, providing a place of discussion. There are plenty of YouTubers doing that. Every little detail gets a clickbait title and thumbnail that, of course, everyone clicks on and then starts speculating, and it just goes in these wild circles. It generates a lot of comments. It generates a lot of buzz amongst the community that already wants to be a part of it. And that's great. You should have those circles where you, as that type of fan, can just go all out. I think it's actually healthier that those exist than just leaving people to kind of disperse and force other people who maybe didn't play the original into those types of discussions. But again, just as a fan of, just a really big fan of Remake and as a Final Fantasy, just something about it, I just don't want to jump on it. I want to get to it and play it and experience it and share the experience that I've had and not wonder so much about the experience that I'm going to have and start to judge the experience I think I'm going to have later. I think I already have that answer. So I guess the game is marketed enough for me to that point where I just don't even want to report on it. I just want to get to it. So yeah, that's really all it is. And it's just, it's such like the anti-YouTube thing to think and do. But at the end of the day, I'm a fan who got lucky enough to have a YouTube channel that people watch. That's the end of it. People like to act like it's any more than that. People like to talk about how awesome it is to have all the reporting, but that's all it is. At least that's all it is to me. I don't see myself as anything more than that. I don't see myself as the person you need to listen to decide whether or not you're going to pick up Rebirth or a Final Fantasy game or whatever. I just like to share the things that I want to talk about. And if for any reason at all, I feel less inclined to talk about it, then that's enough for me to not make a video. It's not always just about the views. Sometimes it's about the views, but it's not always about the views. There's gotta be some passion behind the video I'm deciding to make. And I clearly have more passion to talk about why I don't want to do the videos as often as I could than I do actually making the videos. So here I am. I have more passion about doing this than even recording the thing I'm already planning on doing. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video about that, largely reuse the footage that I have from the videos I made a few months back from when I got to play. and just leave you with that, because I can't help but feel like I'm letting people down by not making the videos. But I have to be honest about how I feel about making them. And quite frankly, I just don't want to. I want to make the video where I talk about how much I loved playing the game when it comes out, or any other, if I get another opportunity before that, that too, of course, I'll want to share that. But I just want to talk about what I have experienced and not what I'm hoping to experience as much. So I'll leave that to other people, and I'll go on doing what I do, as much as I could probably make a ton of videos about 7, and you would all probably watch it. So just wanted to make a video about that. So hopefully you enjoyed whatever this was supposed to be. And I'll see you in the few 7 remake videos that I do, or Rebirth videos that I do. And of course, covering all the 16 stuff over the next few months, 14, Dawn Trail, whatever Square Enix stuff I feel like covering, as I always have. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.